Hello guys, Pete over here, Craigslist Hunters. Super exciting video, very requested video from you guys. A week ago I made a video, 45K in May, what we sold on eBay. And at the beginning of that video I mentioned how good to cancel really played a trick on us for the last couple months when eBay implemented that strategy, good to cancel. I believe second part of March, yeah, towards the end of the March. So let me get into some details here, how we combat that and what kind of impact it had on our sales overall for the last 3 months. I have two great examples here. We actually have two eBay stores that we can look at it. One store is our main store with about 1,500 items, and then we have another store that only has about 100 items in it, and it's mainly clothing, probably about 80% clothes and about 20% shoes. And with that account we haven't done anything. So I have good examples to show you how I think it makes a difference what we did, especially in the second part of April, going into the May, and how it ramped up our sales of doing just a few little things. So let's get into this. I think it's exciting. Now this is my experience. It might not work for you. I obviously don't know what kind of stuff you guys list, but a lot of you reached out to me, even big stores with 8,000-10,000 items in a store, that they've seen up to 50% slide in last couple months in sales. So I think it's a big deal. Let's talk about it. So there might be a lot of stores out there that always been on 30 days listing and always been kind of good to cancel, listed and forget it. And I know some of you do that kind of strategy. I never did this. The way we worked our strategy always on eBay was 7, 10, 30, 7, 10, 30. What I mean by that, always every single item that would be listed on eBay would go first for 7 days. After 7 days, if it didn't sell, we would tweak that item a little bit, maybe flop pictures around, adjust the price, adjust shipping, did something with it, relist again for 10 days. After 10 days, if it wouldn't sell, we would do again some adjustments on a listing and relist it for 30 days. After 30 days, if it wouldn't sell, which is now, 6 weeks into the whole cycle, then we would make very significant changes in that post to make sure that listing moves. To the point that sometimes we would even throw it on auction to get rid of it, or take it off completely, or adjust the price drastically so it sells. And the cycle would begin again, 7, 10, 30. And eventually the item would sell. It worked very, very well for us. And the main reason it worked well, because I believe eBay algorithm likes drastic, not maybe drastic changes, but like very active accounts, stuff that it's constantly listed. So especially if you're not listing like every day, and we do actually, both of my stores, there's always stuff being listed, but on top of it, we would relist all the time, right? After 7 days or 10 days, so something is getting relisted every day. When that stopped, when good to cancel came in and took that away, and even at the beginning of March, we already, second part of March when they implemented, we saw probably about a 10% drop in our sales because we were not relisting. The stuff was going into the 30-day cycle, and then by mid-April, everything is pretty much turned over now and into that 30-day cycle. We're not relisting stuff. Mid-April, we are down about 20% in sales, which is big. And by the end of April, we are down like 30%, which is huge when you're running a high volume, maybe I'm not super high volume, but $40,000-$50,000 store a month. A 30% drop, that's a significant amount of money all of a sudden disappearing. So right away we started, second part of April, we started dabbling with this. And what we are doing, when there's a listing and it's out there for 30 days, when it reaches that 23rd day, which is 7th day on the market, we would just end the listing. And it goes to your unsold folder. We will go tweak some stuff, relist. Or we would go on a 10-day listing that it's already out there for 10 days, end it, tweak it, relist. What happens is eBay gives you like a new ID number for that item, and it considers that item to be brand new on their website. And there's lots and lots of people that search all the time. You know how they have that box on top that they can check as they're doing a search, newly listed or ending soonest. Well, people actually use that a lot. So I believe that if they check that, and if you are new listing, relisted, for the first couple days, you're really trending up there on those pages. And we started doing that. We started ending those listings, and we started seeing significant difference in our sales. They slowly started ticking up and going up and up and up. Now here's the tricky part. You don't have to do this on every single listing. I believe the listings that you should be concentrating on are the ones that are unusual, the ones that don't have models number to them attached. Here's what I mean. If you are selling a Sony receiver, for example, that has a model number, I'm just gonna shoot numbers now, SXV300, and there is only 15 of them out there on eBay at the moment, and somebody's searching for that particular number model, you will come up, no problem. You will be on that first page and you will be seen. But here's what happens. If somebody's, let's say, listing an iPhone 6S for Verizon, 32 gigabyte, and there's 1,500 of them out there, and everybody has pretty much the same title, guess what happens? You get buried. You get buried on that 10th page, because for some reason when the 30 thing happens automatically relisted by eBay, it doesn't seem to me like they are relisting this with the new ID number, that this is actually a new listing again on eBay, and it gets buried. Stuff like this, let's say somebody's selling a t-shirt, Vineyard Vines, right? Blue, light blue t-shirt, no model number, so nobody can specifically search for this. There's 600 of them out there available. Guess what? You're gonna get buried. But the items that do have not too much competition and they do have a model number to, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would because people will still find it. For example, the camera that I'm filming now, Canon 70D. There's probably about 100 listings for body only. If somebody's gonna do a search like that, most likely they're gonna find you. Is it necessary to end the listing? Probably not. So pay attention what you have in a store. That way some of the listing you can let it go, and some of them then have to be relisted, and your store looks like it's always active. Especially when you are one of those people that don't list every day. My stores are active every day. There's always something being listed. But if you are that person that only lists on a weekend or every 2-3 days, by doing relistings every single day of few listings makes your store very active. I think that eBay algorithm really likes that. So we've been doing that consistently now for a whole month, and our sales jump right back on. We are up 26% for month of May, and now we are almost up 30% already in June. This is the first week of June, so I think it does work. Play with it, dabble with it. It might not work for everybody, but we see a huge difference. Now here's the comparison that I did with both stores. I have a store that has 1,500 items that took that dive, and I also have a store that has only 100 items, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. 80% clothing, 20% shoes. It's a clothing store, and we always would list there, 1 or 2 items every couple days, and we would always have one sale a day out of that store, roughly 25-30 items a month. Well, guess what? Almost 2.5 months went by since eBay implemented that good to cancel. I sold 3 items in that whole store in 2.5 months. 3 items. So I'm gonna do an update video again in about a month. Starting this Monday, we're gonna start playing with that store a little bit, ending and relisting items, and I'm gonna give you guys an update 4 weeks from now if we are seeing any difference in action on that particular store. If we will, then my theory is correct. If we won't, I don't know, but I got a good feeling because what we did in the first store, the one that we have 1,500 items, it's really, really working for us. Guys, I was really scared for like a month and a half. I'm like, what's happening? Why is such a big dive on eBay? And then I had probably 5 or 6 of you big stores reach out to me and we talked about it. And I just talked to somebody just a couple days ago, a store with almost 10,000 items in it with 50% drop within the last 2.5 months. That's huge. That's big numbers. It can cripple somebody. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. I hope I explained this quickly and good enough. We'll do the update video again. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this type of video, please throw a thumb up there. And if you are brand new to this channel, you just stumbled because of this title, please subscribe, hit that notification bell next to it so you'll get notified where the next video comes out. Appreciate you guys watching. Till next time. Cheers.